Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you are at. Welcome to the webinar. My name is Scott Pierce with Listings to Leads, and we've got one of our clients, a longtime client, Dustin Fox, out of Virginia with Pearson Smith Realty. They're an office client, a broker client of Listings to Leads, and Dustin's with them. And we really wanted to bring him on and share some of the stuff that he's been doing with our program. So Dustin, go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit maybe, and talk to people about what you're doing with Listings to Leads, how it's helping you grow your business, and so on.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. I have been licensed for about 4.5 years, on Listings to Leads for about 2.5 years. I think it was a resource provided by my brokerage from the very beginning, but I was a little late to adopt it. But now that I've kind of figured things out a couple years ago, I'm probably the biggest proponent of it in our brokerage. It's made a huge impact for me personally with my business. I quickly scaled from being kind of a brand new agent and doing $5 million in business a year to the last 2 years, doing $20 million in volume each of the past 2 years. And probably 75–80% of it is largely attributed directly from Listings to Leads. So I kind of wanted to share really my strategy with how I use it and how I can get the most out of it, if that sounds good.
Sounds absolutely perfect. So yeah, go ahead and do that. And if there's any details or anything that needs to happen, I'll help out with that. But I think you're good to go, buddy.
Yeah, no worries. So like I said, about 2 or 3 years ago, when I started using it, I was generally just using it for Facebook ads, and I was not using the open house or just the lead generating checklist. So sticking with that, number one, has been very huge for me, because you don't really know which one of these resources is going to provide you the lead that's going to get you the next listing or the next buyer. I made a goal a couple years ago that I really wanted to focus in on getting more out of every single listing. So getting my really looking back at my past year's business and looking at a listing and saying, okay, how many people did I get from an open house from that? How many buyers did I get from a Facebook ad? How many potential sellers did I get from either an open house or print marketing or any of the other resources? So at the end, it was kind of like about 1.3. I was getting one additional buyer sale from that. And then last year I made a goal of getting to 2 or above. And I was kind of right around that number. This year, I'm still trying to get to that magic number 3, additional transactions per listing, and leveraging every listing into at least 3 more transactions. And what I wanted to share, I didn't want to get too nuts and bolts on the entire checklist here, but I wanted to kind of talk about my top 3 avenues in terms of when I look back at what in Listings to Leads has given me the most business, what has been the most successful for me. So obviously, number 1 is the actual Facebook ads. I average anywhere from $50 to $100 per listing, per ad, per week. And if you guys can see my screen, I think in just a couple years, I've gone to about 5,700, I think, total leads from here that I'm able to continuously follow up and retarget. And then on the next thing, but I mean, I think everybody here listening to the call, if they haven't, if they don't know like the basics of running a Facebook ad, they can probably go to a previous webinar. But that's been my number 1. I'm more doing it to sell my listings than I am to generate I don't run a lot of seller ads. Most of the sellers that I get from my Facebook ads were coming in originally as a buyer, and then through follow-up or through buying the house, I end up listing their house. For me personally, the home valuations in my market in DC don't work as well, but the Facebook ads from the side work really, I write them a lot.
Hey, Dustin, I just want to interrupt, if you don't mind, real quickly, because you just said something that's huge, which is a lot of the sellers come in as buyers. And so, doing the coming soon, if you're still doing that at all, active, open house, right, those kind of ads, running those ads will generate listings in the long run, because sellers do come in as buyers nowadays a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean, especially if they can see you already as a good listing agent. And if your intention is when you're constantly replying to them, if somebody comes in off of your buy side ad and you immediately start sending them e-alerts, I think, you will get some lucky people that will turn into buyers because they're in your database. But from a paranoia standpoint and a permission marketing standpoint, I get a little paranoid that that their neighbors or their family, especially when I send out the seller social media and they share it, I don't really know who's their friend or who's their family. And then if I start sending them other people's houses, I don't want it to get back to them that I'm trying to sell them somebody else's house. And I think the buyers kind of see that also when I'm consistently following up with every open house, like coming soon with a single photo to coming soon with full photos. That's the first 2 emails. And then the open house invite is the next email. They start to see over time, like, okay, this guy's really on top of it, following up, trying to sell this house. This is the person that I want to sell my house. And you just kind of have to consistently do that. The next portion that has been the most impactful for my business is the old-fashioned print marketing. So if you go here, and you do nearby homeowners letters. So this is so impactful for me because I try to time it and to my clients the importance of not changing dates, or sure we leave ourselves enough timeline that we can hold this open house date. And I generally do from 1 to 2 p.m. is like the neighborhood only open house, and 2 to 4 is the public one. Whenever I do one for the neighborhood. And the reason is some people like to do Thursday or Friday night open houses, but I just don't like setting up and taking down twice. And you can easily just force them into an hour before you're public, and you're just setting up and taking down twice or once. But the reason why this is so impactful is you can make it very specific. The system here allows you to edit the newsletter, and you can edit it to say, dear Sully Station 2 homeowner, Jack and Jill are really excited to be selling their house. We'd like to cordially invite you to a taco bar open house from 1 to 2 only for your neighborhood. We want you guys to be the first ones in, first chance to see the house. And you really make it feel like an invitation, and you're mailing that out to that specific subdivision. And that has been the biggest way that I've gotten the most amount of is because they will literally come in with that flyer and say, like, I whole fruit margarita taco bar. And I say systematize it because you won't need a lot of dishes. If you kind of do the same thing for every open house, you're used to preparing the same thing, you can drive costs down. But they'll come in with that flyer and they'll say, like, hey, like, I'm thinking about selling my house. They'll just tell you that up front. They'll see your setup. They'll see, instead of you having like a bowl of hard candy or a couple bottled water, they'll see your setup and they'll say, this is the person that I want to see or selling my house. So this has been, the second biggest thing for me is just sending this out consistently for every single listing. I haven't explored the postcards or door hangers yet. For me personally, I think everybody sorts their trash or their mail over their trash. You get your mail and you kind of go over the trash can and you decide, like, okay, bill, something personal you hold on to, and then everything else is in the trash. But if you send this letter out with a first class stamp, and if you have time to hand address it, even better. If you don't, there's a couple third party places that you can use to send this out with a first class stamp, and have their name printed on it from the tax record. But it's going to be a guarantee to open because it has a first class stamp on it, and you're going to get a lot of people that are going to come into your open house. And then it sounds really old fashioned because we have like the text sign writers here for my third one, but it's not really the text sign writers for me. It's the where is it at? It's the flyers it's just the listing flyers for the box. So I like to do this one here, with a single photo. I don't like to give them too much. I don't want them to see the actual photos. But if somebody is driving through the neighborhood and they take the time to pull this flyer out of the box, and then go here to text this number to see the photos, that is the strongest lead you can have. It's better than Zillow, it's better than Realtor, better than any of them, because they're already in the neighborhood and they're excited about the front of this specific house. So anytime you get that text, just call them, drop everything, call them immediately, because half of them are not represented by agents. They're just like excited about this one specific house, and you can kind of get them to work with you.
Yeah, and it's so awesome because that text information, like you're mentioning there, whether it's on the print flyer and on the a flyer box, whether it's a sign writer, that text information also gets put in Facebook ads, on Craigslist ads, on Instagram ads. So that text, like you said, a lot of people think it's old-fashioned, but a lot of people still use it. I mean, a lot of buyers, a lot of consumers will still send that text like that. So that's a really strong use, and they get the mobile responsive virtual tour. You get the phone number. You know, it's an awesome situation.
Yeah, no, I love it. And if you have any follow-up questions in terms of how I do things specifically, feel free to shoot them at me. But I really want to stress to everybody listening, when I say the Facebook ads are number one, it's not number one in the short term, it's number one in the long term, because it's all in the follow-up, but you need to really automate things and automate your audiences and make sure you have your pixel installed from your Facebook page into your listings to leads account, so you can run targeted ads to anybody that's clicked on your website, whether that's viewed your video ads. And what you just keep building this big audience over time, and then it's just like any other advertising campaign. The more they see it, the more they're going to know who you are, and you just need to consistently do it every single week. So no matter what listing I'm running or ads that I'm running, I will take one listing and I will make sure that listing will be doing a separate ad to just retarget all of my existing leads that I already have in there. So they're always seeing something from me every single week.
Yeah, and in listings to leads, you can set it up for auto posting. So you can auto post listings and auto post some of the different landing pages. So whether you're going to auto post or you do it manually, like you just said, that consistency is so key.
Yeah, I think some of the things that I'm probably missing out on, just here from the checklist, and I say just stick to the checklist, check things off as you get them done, because you don't really know where it's going to come from. I wasn't sending out the e-flyer to sellers SOI for a really long time, probably a year and a half, 2 years, because I was like, I don't know if I felt like I might be annoying my client to share this to them. And then I just had a client one time saying like, hey, do you have like an email that I can share with people? And I was like, oh, somebody actually wants to do this. So then I just made it a part of my regular Monday routine in that stage of the listing, and just sharing it with them. Not every seller will share, but when they do, you never know. I was doing a housewarming for a buyer client, and they said, oh yeah, we got a couple of your e-flyers. So you just don't know where the next sale is going to come from. The only one that I'm not really great at is I'm not doing the Craigslist, and I'm not doing the blog post, but everything else really I'm doing.
Awesome. Yeah, the blog post is good for, that's if you want some extra SEO, like if you've got a really good blog, or you're really into doing custom pages at your website and you want that extra SEO juice, that's good for the blog post. And Craigslist ads, yeah, some people like Craigslist, some people don't, but it's there if you want to use it. And we always suggest using it, but you can't do everything all the time, so you do what you can.
Gotcha.
Awesome. So at this point, are there any questions for Dustin? We have a lot of people on the call, so good to see everybody. Or Vince, anything you want to ask Dustin to clarify? Everybody good? Is there a webinar explained? Yeah, so Kathy, great question. So everything that Dustin is talking about, we've got webinars or support posts for example, hey Dustin, do me a favor, go back and click on print marketing and let's open that back up. And let's click on that nearby neighbors letter again.
Mm-hmm.
So yep, open that up, click on nearby, and then click on, show people where that light bulb is on the upper right-hand side for the support post, come in the upper right-hand corner there. So for every page in listings to leads, you're gonna see a light bulb like that. And that light bulb will take you to a support post for that particular item. So Kathy, whether it's how to run a Facebook ad or something else, you'll see these support posts for that. And typically the support posts will have text like what you see. It'll have screenshots, and quite a few of them will have a video at the bottom as well, just walking you through how to do it. So
yeah, and I think what got me into doing really these print newsletters was my fear of when I was first told that they were taking away the smaller radiuses, the mile or two radiuses to 15 miles. I thought that was gonna kind of be it for my Facebook ads. And what I ended up finding was it was kind of ended up being a benefit to me when they did the 15 mile, because just like a consumer, if they're shopping on Zillow or Redfin, they're typing in a specific city, like say Washington, D.C., 3+ bed, 2+ bath, under a specific price range. They're only going to be shown houses in the city that they've requested. With the 15-mile radius, you're going to be getting a lot more leads that aren't necessarily looking in that city, but going to be clicking on it that you would have never got had you not expanded that radius. So I started using this letter because I was worried that that was going to kind of be the end of Facebook ads, and it ended up being like a giant benefit for me in an unattended way.
yeah, and so like Justin was mentioning earlier, this letter sits in an editor, so anything in this letter can be customized. The URLs are default, so you can see it's got a nice, URL for the listing, that 13502 Wilder Court, thebestlisting.com. That comes from Listings to Leads. The text information there is automatic. Then you can see below the picture of the listing, it's got the call to action, right? And that's where the money is at. When the home is sold, it will affect your home's value. And so that's why this letter is so powerful, especially when you do it the way Dustin said, which is, put it in a regular business size envelope, first class stamp. If you have the chance to handwrite them, great. It just makes it look much more personal. If not, there's printing services that can do that for you. But this letter, and like Dustin said, between this letter and then also like the e-flyer for the seller, you mentioned a buyer came through and they said they got your email. So these are things that are just getting out there. And people are literally mentioning them to you, carrying them into where you're at. So this is stuff that people are holding on to and actually looking at versus just deleting and throwing away.
Yeah, I think that really it's in the consistency of doing it, because you could easily get discouraged by like 2 or 3 consecutive listings like I did, where I mailed 200 of these out to the closest houses in the subdivision, and I might have somebody come into the open house with the letter, or a few people come in the house with a letter, but it wouldn't result in immediate business. And then all of a sudden, you just get a call 6 to 8 months later that say, "Hey, Dustin, I still have your letter from the open house here in my subdivision. I'd really like to sit down and talk to you about selling my house." And then you kind of have that eureka moment where you're like, "Shoot, I could have been doing this for every my listing stopped." And it's just not everybody's obviously ready to sell their house right in that moment. But they will hold on to this because it will make an impact on them. They get the letter, they come into your open house, you look different than everybody else because of your food spread, the way that you have things set up, your professionalism, and they're going to say, "This is the person that, I want to sell my house."
Yeah, and let me give a tip for everybody here. Even if you don't have a listing, or you've got one listing that's been sitting there forever, you can borrow a listing from your office, right? Talk to your broker and find out the ins and outs of that exactly. But we have people that borrow a listing from another agent, hold an open, and use this letter, right? Sometimes they'll door knock. Sometimes they just drop it off to the homes like an hour before the open house. If they have a chance to mail it ahead of time, they will. But you can use this for a listing that another agent in your office will let you hold open. So don't think like, oh, it's got to be my listing and I don't have any listings where I'd want to use this. You know, borrow a listing in a farm that you want to get listings in, right? Hold it open and use this letter, right? Whether it's an hour before the open house, you drop it off, you door knock, you want to meet, you know, and that's one of the things I'm hearing from more and more agents. Right now it's wintertime, like Dustin, where you're at, you're not going to be too enthused about walking the neighborhood an hour, you know, before the open house with the weather the way it is. But, you know, with springtime coming up, or if you're in California like I am, you know, a lot of more and more agents are wanting right to door knock because, you know, everything being on social media, that's awesome. That's a great way to get in front of people via social media. But, you know, at the end of the day, you want to be talking to people, you know, mano a mano. And this letter is an awesome introduction. We've had people just tell us that they'll just knock on the door, somebody answers it, and they'll just say something like, hey, I just want to let you know we're having an open house down the street, and I just want to give you this letter, almost like a customer service type of thing, just to let you know what's happening in the neighborhood. It's not a salesy thing. They don't try to ask if you're looking to sell right in the next 6 to 8 months, or do you know someone looking to sell? None of that, right? And that customer service type of interaction just pays dividends, right? Big time. So there's a lot of ways to use this letter, like what Dustin said, and some other ways as well.
Hey guys, can I jump in with a question here? Dustin, I know you know, you were great to bring this letter up in our mastermind group last summer. You're having great success with it, so I'm glad to see it. But you were also kind of going over the checklist with us here, and I want to ask you about how much time a week do you put in here? Because you work with us, you know, consistently. You're using it, I think, the way we would love to see all of our clients do it. But what do you think? How many, you know, minutes or hours do you think you work on this a week?
Probably maybe 2 hours a week, maybe. It's really, I set it up from a time blocking perspective. My daughter has, I know she has ballet on Mondays and Thursdays, and I drop her off, and I don't want to sit in there for 2 hours while she's doing it. So I go to Starbucks, and those 2 hours at Starbucks, I work on this stuff. And I consistently just do this during those hours. I set up my Facebook ads for the week. I follow up and tag them all on Mondays, and then do all my new ones on Thursdays. And that's where I've had the most success. I find personally that not running, I talked to Scott a little bit about this last week, that not running the shorter ads, I have much greater success. If you're going to do $50 per ad, I recommend doing that on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and try to narrow down the times from like 8 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. That's where I have the lowest cost per click and the greatest success. And I want it to be fresh in their mind for my open house that Sunday when I'm running the ad.
Hey, Dustin, repeat that again. The days and the times that you find the most successful.
Yeah, and I really should share this on the forum because I've split tested so many things that I could just kind of share the actual ads manager results. But I have found, because I've tested at a time for 50 or 100, and I'll run the same ad for $50 or $100, and I'll just do Saturday and Sunday. The best 2 days are Saturday and Sunday night. I split tested daytime, like all day Saturday, all day Sunday. But for whatever reason, I imagine, you know, if you're laying in your bed, like my wife and I do, and you're right before you go to sleep, everybody says like, don't look at your screen, but everybody does anyways. And you're just kind of like, everything's done for the day and you're not distracted and you're just like there zoning out on your phone. That's when I have the lowest cost per click is Saturday and Sunday. Think about it like this. When you get on Facebook, not to do ads, the very first few things that Facebook shows you are like engagements or somebody having a baby or cute photos of pets or things that they know that everybody will like. And the longer that those items are on there, the less you're going to see them. It's the same way with ads. If you tell Facebook, I want to keep my spend to a short duration amount of time, they know you're not going to be, you know, going stale. They're going to say, we only are going to have to force this on everybody's wall for a few hours every single night, and then we're going to get our money. And I tend to have the highest amount of reach, impressions, and cost, the lowest cost per click when I do it that way.
Yeah, that, you know, and it makes sense. I mean, I can see exactly, because, my wife and I do guilty of the same thing, right? The kids are finally, calm. There's nothing else that we need to do. The kitchen's clean from dinner and all that good stuff. And a lot of times we're both, she'll be on her computer, I'm on my phone, we might be having the TV on, but it's also a time when we can actually talk, right? Because, you're working during the daytime, then you got the kids in the afternoon, evening. And sometimes it's that late night when it's really the first time that my wife and I have to talk about different things. And so, we're not looking to buy a house right now, so that's not in our wheelhouse, but I can see where people that are kind of in that frame of mind of starting to looking to buy, looking to sell, that late nighttime time frame, that makes a lot of sense.
And not to show you kind of the depth that I go real quick, and not to get too psychotic, but if you go to my ads manager here, and you see kind of the level of what I'm doing from a split testing perspective, and it's really more to provide value to my client, and I'm trying to always think, how can I get my ad costs lower, more people to click on it, and to be as persuasive as possible. So when I go in here, like this is a test that I ran last night, and you'll see wilder photo tests, and I have different cloud twilights and different angles. So I can go to my client and show them, like today I sent them an email that said, find this, wilder photo test. Your edited photos came back just in time for me to split test them all. I put them in descending order, ranked the best. This one got 89 clicks, blue clouds, left front. And then I just kind of show them, and then I actually share the statistics from the ad. So I'm finding what Facebook, for the same ad copy and the same ad spend and the same duration of time, really just 8 p.m. to 11:59, I'm just throwing $5 at each of these ads. I'm seeing like this left front like angle of the house with the blue clouds is by far the most persuasive photo. And that's the one that I end up going with as my front-facing photo for my Zillow and the MLS and my entire ad campaign, because I know the public likes that one the best.
That's awesome. And it's actually, that's not that hard to do in Facebook these days, to be able to split test multiple photos like that. So that's awesome. And what it really is, it is so awesome as far as your, how the client's looking at you, because dude, there's probably 0.0001% of agents doing something like this, but it just makes you look like a mad scientist, real estate agent.
Yeah, I like it, and it also eliminates if you haven't sold their house yet and they're like, hey, I think we need to change things up, our strategy, what are we doing different? And they say like, a lot of times you'll have clients that, say like, I don't like this photo, but you can say, look, let's go back to the Excel spreadsheet here, and like this is the photo that everybody else likes the most. So let's just try to be a little democratic in our approach and go with the one that's most likely to be successful. I'm not saying don't ever edit or change it, but just you can back everything up with facts. When you're providing your client every Monday when you're selling their house with the stats that you're running from the ad, the actual ad copy, and the email addresses that are coming from the ad so they can see that they're working, they're going to know when you're showing them, I'm giving you, 3 to 5 times more views than Zillow, Redfin, and Realtor.com. And I'm providing you that every single Monday, they'll never leave you. We've never had any client ever fire us. We've held on to everybody. And, sometimes it takes some sellers longer than others to come to the realization that they need to make a price adjustment. But if you're doing this consistently for them, 9 times out of 10, the sellers will tell you, well, I guess we should just reduce the price if we're getting these kind of numbers and no offers. So it takes a lot of the struggle away from you as the agent.
Dude, anytime you can have a seller come to you about a price reduction, you're doing the right thing.
For sure.
That's absolutely awesome. Awesome. All right. Any other questions from anybody here on the webinar for Dustin, myself, or for Vince while we're here? So anything else? All right, not seeing any questions. Wow, we got a lot of people on the call, so I'm good to see everybody. We are recording this webinar. We will make it available a little bit later. Also, for people that came in a little bit late, or if you haven't seen it in the chat box, I'm sure a lot of people on this call are not clients. I just went ahead and made an executive decision and put in Dustin's affiliate link. I didn't okay that with him ahead of time, and I didn't tell him that was going to happen. But I just wanted to put that affiliate link of Dustin's in the chat box of the GoToWebinar control panel. So if anybody wants to access that, they can. Just click on the bottom of your GoToWebinar control panel. You'll see the chat box. You can access that affiliate link if you need to. All right, Vince, anything else? Yeah.
If anybody has a question about anything that I mentioned, if you search my name in the Listings to Lead forum, a lot of this stuff I've talked about in the past, and if you comment on that, I'm typically pretty quick within a day of answering any questions you have in terms of like the way that I'm doing it specifically.
Yeah, in fact, that's awesome, because what I'd like to see is, if anybody has questions for Dustin, let's do it in the mastermind group, and that way he can access the mastermind group. It'll be a benefit to everybody else on the call and everybody else in the mastermind group. And like he said, in our mastermind group, there is a search box on the left-hand side, and you can type in Dustin Fox, or you can type in other keywords and access information in the mastermind group on a lot of different stuff that's in there. And it'll search it back like 2, 3, 4 years even to pull stuff for you.
Hey, Dustin, I've got a question. Have you had a chance to look at the new chat bots we've been developing?
The support one?
Yeah, well, the one that's actually, there's a bot page on the top here, and we actually have bots that you can use in your Facebook ads now. And I was wondering,
I have done one, but I haven't really played around with it much.
I'm just curious.
It just hasn't been something that I've done.
Yeah. Well, you'll see more about it. We're just about to get fully behind this, and it's pretty strong already. But I was just curious because you're doing so many Facebook ads.
Yeah, I think no matter what anybody is using successfully in Listings to Leads, there's so many resources on here. It'd probably be really tough for everybody to do everything. But I have really strong success, running it with just the Facebook ads, and I'm sure I could probably take it to the next level with a bot that would start a actual conversation with these potential buyers.
Yeah, but it's like what Dustin said a little bit earlier, I think, to kind of meld that with what you just said, which is, that checklist is pretty exhaustive, right? And the checklist really is in fact, Dustin, can you click on the checklist icon for one of your listings there? And, the checklist is a result of being in business for 10 years, working with a lot of top agents, a lot of smart agents, and just bringing in stuff that works. And so like what Dustin said is, not everything works the exact same in every single area. And so what you need to do is just do as many things on this checklist as you can and do it consistently, because that's the only way you're going to find out what works for you in your area, right? You can listen to Dustin talk, you can listen to us talk, but until you actually do it in your area, right, consistently, that's when you're going to find out, okay, I'm going to spend more time on this part of the checklist to make sure I do this one. But what you don't want to do, and again, Dustin, this is kind of picking up on something that you said about the e-flyer for the seller sphere of influence, right? Try not to sit there and go, well, I don't want to do that because of whatever reason, right? It's not in here because it doesn't work, right? Everything that's on this checklist is here because it has brought very strong lead gen opportunities for people. And yeah, I see that checklist or that e-flyer for the open house there. It's got that countdown clock that motivates people to click. It can generate seller leads for you. We had a support email, probably about 2 months ago, where on a Saturday morning, somebody emailed support and they said, I've already generated 24 leads for a listing I just entered Friday night, and I haven't done anything for it yet. Can you tell me where the heck are all these leads coming from? Well, we looked, and this e-flyer right here was sent to the seller automatically, because the system will send it to the seller automatically. The seller shared it with their friends via email Friday night, and by Saturday morning, the agent had over 24 leads from the seller sphere of influence. And the great thing about these kind of leads is that there's a kind of an implicit relationship already, because they know the seller, you're working with the seller. And so because of that, these types of leads tend to be a little bit stronger than your average Facebook lead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think everybody has different. They recently changed the MLS rules where I live, where we can't show or accept offers during, and they shortened the, coming soon. Before I could do 60 days on Zillow and listings to leads, and now I can do 21 and I can't show it or accept offers. So that changed my strategy a little bit. So for me to be able to maximize listings and leads and the leads that I have, is that first week you can take advantage of getting some free leads without even doing any Facebook ad spend. If you like week one, when you just get a single exterior shot of the house, when you're writing the description and you're starting at your Zillow coming soon campaign, and the virtual tour link, or the single property website portion of the Zillow page, you can put your listings to lead landing page, not your single property website. I do the landing page, so they're going from there to there. They click connect with Facebook. And you're getting some people into your system pretty quickly there until you have the full photography. You're kind of teasing them, and they're thinking that you're going to have more photos by going from Zillow onto your landing page, and then you can email them and say, hey, photos are next week. I'm going to stay on top of this and make sure you're the first one in there to see the house.
Oh, that's awesome. So you do it, so a week ahead of time, you're getting one exterior photo, uploading it to Zillow for the coming soon campaign, and then you put the landing page. Do you mind showing them the landing page for this listing here?
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, and so putting the landing page link in there as a virtual tour link, right?
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
The landing page link is here. The single property website is here. So I think I have it set up to autoplay the video as soon as it starts. That's why I don't have the virtual tour thing off. I find I get a little bit of boost on my SEO by putting the address and then a dash on YouTube with like my full name and whatever your verified Google page is. Like they want you to post it to YouTube because it's Google owned. But I have the video here first. And this is the full tour. It starts off outside and then it goes inside like later on in the video, like full actual video, not like the virtual tour. And then, you have your photos below. I tend to find,
you gotta become your own lead.
I know. I tend to find I do a lot of detail into my description. Normally put a whole list of cap improvements here. The more you sell, when you only single photos, have them kind of like frothing at the mouth to get in there to see it, because they're like, see this one photo and then this amazing description of the house, and they're like, okay, they'll keep checking on it daily until they can get in. But I love all this stuff that you guys have put in here. Like, when do you plan to buy? I've gotten a few leads from constantly running ads. What is your home worth now? I get the occasional from a buyer lead doing that stuff. All of this stuff on here is amazing. They can print brochures here. They have all of my reviews in here. It's very important that you have all of this stuff linked, so it's there, and then you see my other listings.
Yeah, so these single property websites, I mean, we look at a single property website from a company perspective as a way to give the information that people expect, right? We don't want to switch and bait type of thing, but we also know a lot of people, they may or may not be interested in this particular listing. So that's why we got, view more listings down below. We've got the ability for a lot, and like, Dustin, like you said earlier, a lot of times sellers come in as a buyer. So imagine, right, they're on this single property website, and scroll down a little bit more. Let's take a look at that, the landing page embed for what's your home worth. Scroll down a little bit. We saw a little bit earlier, but imagine, like Dustin said, and we see this with our clients, a seller really comes in as a buyer. Well, they land on the single property website, and this right here, what you're looking at, what is your home worth? This is automatically embed in all of the single property websites and virtual tours. And so this is another just phenomenal way to take advantage of what we already know, which is, hey, a seller is looking at listings on Zillow, they're looking at listings on Facebook, they're looking at listings maybe via an email they got from the client. and now they can become a seller lead right off of a single property website for one of your listings. So yeah, it's a phenomenal way to get more people or more listings in your system.
Love it.
Yeah. So awesome. All right, cool. Vince, anything else or any other questions? I don't see let me look at the question box here. And do you have Facebook everyday living? All right, yep. All right, cool. So Dustin, what kind of business page do you have? Like, when you run your ads, what's the name of your Facebook page, if you don't mind? Or, what type of Facebook page? Is it a community page? Is it a business page?
No, it's not a community page, and I think I could probably have even a lower cost per click. But I'm okay with getting the name recognition and kind of the constant hit for my name in the consumer's mind. Just having them know who I am. It's just Devin and Dustin Fox, Pearson Smith Realty. So
Yeah.
that's our Facebook page. If you ever want to see kind of what ads that I'm running, you can look at, the little sneak peek of on, I think it's the left side, like the ad insights or something on Facebook on my page. You can generally see what I'm running on the weekend. I don't run too much stuff during the week, but you can always kind of get an idea of what I'm running and, copy and paste and run the same things for your market.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and I can't agree with you, because I know, 3-4 years ago, people were saying, well, don't use a branded business page. But I think the key is really, whether it's a community page, a business page, a branded page, is really consistency. I mean, that's really the key right there, is consistency, regardless of what your page name is or type of page that you're using.
Well, my personal belief on it is, if somebody's, whether it's from a community page or your specific page where you're shouting that you're an agent, people only read advertisements, or people only read what they want to read. And sometimes what they want to read happens to be an advertisement. So whether it comes from a community page or your personal page, if what you're showing them from a house perspective looks enticing, they're going to click on it. Doesn't really matter where it's coming from. Yeah. So I feel like I just want the added bonus of them seeing my name as like a little reminder that I'm, doing business.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's totally awesome. I love it. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, Dustin, for joining us. Absolutely awesome. I love what you're doing. For everybody on this call, today is Thursday. Monday, we do a getting started webinar. On that webinar, on the Monday webinar, and if anybody wants an invitation to that webinar, you can email support@listingstoleads.com. If you're a client, you'll see that on the account homepage, and I will cover some of the stuff that Dustin talked about today in that getting started webinar on Monday. If you can bear through a couple of days over the weekend, we'll do that on Monday. But also, like we said earlier, like, for example, even on this page here where you got the landing page for your social media, on any page in Listings to Leads, click the light bulb. And there's also even a little walkthrough on a lot of these pages. So you'll see the little guy walking above the light bulb icon. You can always open that up for a walkthrough on these pages as well. So Vince, do you want to say anything before we let everybody go?
No, thanks, Dustin, for joining us. I think it's really helpful for our clients and folks to see how you're using it and how much success it's bringing to you.
Yeah.
So thank you.
In fact, actually, one last thing. Let me just mention, Dustin, do you mind, or I can bring it back to my computer and show mine, but clicking on the landing page tab, I just want to mention to people that may or may not know already that, with Listings to Leads, you get unlimited landing pages. So you can see Dustin's got quite a few property valuation landing pages there. And we want you to have a lot of landing pages, because you really want to have one of these landing pages. And these are all the what is your home worth type landing pages for every area and neighborhood and district that you do business in, right? Having one what is your home worth landing page is good, right? But having one for every niche that you work is way better, right? Because if I can get a what is your home worth in Sterling, that's going to be a lot better than a blank, what is your home worth, or what is your home worth in Virginia, right? Because people in Sterling, right, they're interested in Sterling. They're not interested in like the greater area, all right? So you get unlimited landing pages with listings to leads. These landing pages can be auto posted up to Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And then Dustin, scroll up just a tiny bit more. We can kind of peek. We can see that down payment assistance and new construction. We've also got down payment assistance landing pages that auto post to Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, new construction landing pages that auto post, listings that auto post, and so on. So there's a lot of opportunity.
I've never seen this one with the video, Scott.
Yeah. So this is, all of these landing pages take full screen video. So so that's, and we got a default image that you can use as well. This is the down payment assistance, and it can be totally customized. So all the text, the lead form, the video, everything on this landing page is fully customizable. You may have down payment assistance up to 6,000 in your area. So you can change where it says 18 to 6 or what have you. You can provide a PDF report that people will get, to your local area. This is an awesome. I've got this set up to auto post every week. So I think I have it auto posting like every Wednesday at 6:00 p.m. And then once it auto posts up to Facebook, I can edit that post if I wanted to, boost it, run an ad for it, what have you. So it works out really well. Click on the new construction one. That's a nice one too. I've actually gotten videos from builders, right? A lot of times builders will have videos of their development, and you could use that video from a builder on this landing page, just like what we saw with the down payment assistance landing page. And also notice that URL at the top, Devin Dustin F.newconstructionhomesforyou.com. A nice, easy to use URL that comes default with that landing page. Or you can get your own URL and use that if you want as well. So
I'll typically just edit the bit.ly link to something on the tail end with my name and new construction. Just go that route. It either way works great. So see, Dustin, even someone as awesome and as expert as you, there's always a few other things to learn in listings to leads. For sure.
Awesome. And if you're a broker or a broker owner on this call, Dustin is an agent underneath one of our office broker clients who provide, how many agents in your company?
900 something, I think, 928.
And how many were in your company 3 years ago? Do you know off the top of your head around?
I was agent number 35 when I started 4.5 years ago.
Okay. So Pearson Smith Realty has been a client for, I think, 3 or 4 years when they had, 30, 50 agents, and they're now at, would you say 900?
Yeah, 900, 928. So we've grown from 35 when I was there, like a year into the brokerage having started, to now 4.5 years later, 900 something. And this is one of the things that we use, and I help the agents train. Our broker has me come into the office and help the agents get on board with a lot of this stuff. All the training on here is good, but some agents, they just want somebody there to show them how to do it. And that's kind of what I do there.
Yeah, Vince and I actually flew out there last year about the same time of year, actually. And Vince and I were out there. We did some training with your company, and man, I loved everybody there. It's an awesome company. You got an awesome broker there. So just really, really good stuff. So if anybody's in that area, definitely highly recommend going to say hi to the guys over at Pearson Smith Realty. It's a really good company, and I can't even imagine trying to handle that kind of growth from 35, 40 people to 900 plus. So how you guys do it, I don't know, but congratulations on that.
Yeah, I mean, it ain't me. I'm just an agent. It seems stressful to me too, but they seem to do it stress-free and seamlessly. I don't know how.
Yeah, they're good people over there. So awesome. All right, Dustin. Well, listen, hey, thank you so much for joining us. Have an awesome week, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, thanks, everybody. And again, there is a affiliate link from Dustin that I put in there. So if you're not a client, you want to click on that link to sign up, feel free to do so. If you're a broker owner on this call, want more information about listings to leads for your company, feel free to email us. You can email either success@listingstoleads.com or just the support@listingstoleads.com. And lastly, if you're a mortgage broker or a title officer and you want to provide listings to leads for people, agents in your area, go to our website. You'll see information on how you can set up an account that lets you add up to 100 agents or even more for free once you have that account set up. And it's a great way for mortgage brokers and title officers to expand their influence and their reach into the agent community as well. So thank you everybody for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.